Alright, so for this bike build I thought it would be a fun experiment to see how fast I can build a bike. So this is a full Enduro bike build. By that I mean that it's full internal cable routing, dropper post and 12 gears. So this bike build is actually a very up-to-date build. None of the parts are really older than about 1 or 2 years. So it's all the newest updated parts from the leading brands. So we're gonna start the timer and just get the build going. So what I like to do first when doing a bike build is always starting off with the internal cable routing, because it's very much easier to do it when there are no other components in the way. So I'm just gonna remove the main pivot and start feeding the housings through. This part took about as fast as you could do it. Could probably save about 5 minutes because one housing was kinda stuck, but no real complaints with this. Went very smoothly. I've done about probably 7 of these Marin Alpine Trail bikes in the past year, so it's probably the frame I'm most familiar with. So when I'm done with the internal cable routing, I'm just gonna put the frame back together, and then I usually start by changing out the spring of the shock if we're gonna change the spring. And this my friend whose bike build this is, he wanted a lighter spring, so I'm just gonna put on the lighter spring, and then we're gonna install and measure and then cut the steer for the fork. This part also probably as fast as you could do it. I mean, I could rush it a bit, but you don't want to do it with these very expensive new parts. And I'm just gonna install the headset and the bars, the stem also, and then I'm just gonna put on the brake levers and the front brake and everything with brakes. I usually do next. So this part also could do it a little bit faster if you're gonna rush it, but I took my time, and actually there was some problems. But now I'm gonna move on to the Groupset. So this is the new Sram Eagle 90, like brand new a couple months ago. I've actually done one other build with this Groupset, so I've done it once, but it's their new like easy setup system, which I find to be quite hard because you need to follow their exact instructions, while as the old group sets I'm very familiar with, so those for me they take a lot less time. But I'm just gonna install everything, and then we're gonna get to the setup, which, as I said, it's not so easy. I think personally I would prefer them having the old style. I think it's much more reliable, especially down the line when these components are old and bent. There you have much more freedom with the old stuff, and all the adjustments, you don't have to rely on it just being straight. You can make it straight. So here I'm just watching a video. This is the part which took the most amount of time. It took about like 45 minutes just sorting out the shifting. So if I'm gonna do a proper speed build, I probably should do it on something I'm familiar with. But it was quite fun doing it on this because it was challenging. And also one part that took a little bit extra time was the rear brake, because the brake cable he brought me was actually too short, so we had to change it, and we didn't stop the timer because that would be cheating, I called it. So right now I have fixed the shifting. As you can see, it will shift all the way up and all the way down, and it's actually quite smooth shifting with these new group sets. I like it. I like the look of the cassette also. One thing I don't love is how slow it is when you're shifting down, because it like chooses when to shift. It's quite strange. And then we're just gonna run the dropper post cable through. I bled both brakes, and these are the new Sram Mavens. They are a little bit strange to bleed, I think, and here is the bike built. It took 3 hours, around about 3 hours. I think you could cut off like 1 hour, because it was the Groupset especially, and the brakes not being the parts I'm most familiar with, they took like 1 hour more than it should have. But just hear how quiet it is. Might be one of my most quiet builds I've done, actually. Even my single speed bike, my own, is a lot more rattly than this.